to like really tell my story to. So I was just like waiting for the right moment, and here it is.
Pebbles, you gotta chill, cause I can't start off with the waterworks. I can't. This is the second time you have hit me with this. This is the second time. Like, listen. All right.
Let's get naked. Like the juice do, like the juice do. Step off the floor, baby, me and you, baby, me and you. Let's get naked. Let's get naked.
Already started recording just to give a heads up because I like to give a little surprise factor. So that was divine timing. That was perfect divine timing. First of all, family, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Lez Get Naked with MzMo Filla. Listen, I'm going to try to hold it together during this one because I literally can die a happy podcaster after this episode.
Happy podcaster.
A happy podcaster, like happy radio personality, happy woman. Like, to have you two right here right now is Danielle will tell you I have been talking about this forever. I've been wanting to sit down and have this conversation. For those who are not watching this video and don't know who the hell I'm talking to, I'm usually don't do intros. I make you run your resumes, but this is some legendary stuff right now, so I can't do that. I got to do intros for you guys. First things first, I have my bassist, my mentor, the reason why I got into this thing, honestly, one of the reasons why I got into this thing, I have the CEO, forgive me, of SparkFMOnline.com, MsHotSauce, Danielle Johnson. Yes. And listen. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me continue to run the resume because it's not just CEO of Spark FM.
When you get off from me, I might hijack.
We're both gonna hyperventilate. We're gonna lose it. But let me finish MsHotSauce though, because I gotta give my roses while I can. You understand me? Not only is she the CEO of Spark FM, she is also the biggest personality Boston has seen in a very long time since the other person that I'm about to mention, right? She's also a mogul. You understand me? For merchandise, podcasting, just creating a whole movement with Henny and Hot Wings, like Danielle Johnson, a line of mogul movements. You understand me? So let me give you that right there, sis. Let me give you that. Okay. Now, whoa, this is crazy. I'm going to try to breathe during this one. Good God, I have the legendary. If you've ever lived or listened to any type of radio in Boston, you know this name. From WILD to Jim in 94.5 to Hot 96.9. Every single morning, driving on your way into work. Listen, I got Pebbles with me on Lez Get Naked, y'all. I got Pebbles.
And I have to join in too, because this is also very legendary to me too.
Yes.
In my head, Pebbles has always been my mentor.
Yo.
So like, I'm like, wait, I'm on the same level. I'm not a level, but like the playing field right now. Yes, Pebbles,
we are like, there.
This is crazy.
I still listen to you now. You
exactly.
know, like, so I'm like, yeah,
yes, I'm going to be here for this one. Yep.
Well, thank you, Mo, and let me give you your flowers for putting this together, because this is absolutely dope. This has been a dream of mine. So this is absolutely awesome. Thank you.
Oh, sis, and I'm so
we're
glad
all gonna be crying by the end.
Y'all gotta chill. Like, we didn't even get started yet.
Oh man, I love it.
So really quickly, I want to touch on what's going on present. We're gonna get into the nitty gritty, our stories, right? So just what everything that's going on between 2019 and 2020, coming and smacking us all kind of in the heads. Me being kind of the newbie in the scene, just getting my feet wet into the media world. Hot Sauce, you know, kind of graduate into another level in the media world. And Pebbles, you just maintaining your legendariness and, you know, longevity, but still finding a way to pivot during these times. How has that been for you guys? I know that word pivot is so aggravating at this point because we've used it a billion and one times.
It's so needed.
But it's so necessary, right? So how has it been for you? How about you, Pebbles?
Well, it's interesting because a whole lot didn't change. We were still going into the studio every single day. which really was nerve-wracking because in the beginning, you don't know. We didn't know exactly where it is. We didn't know how you get it. So it's like you're worried about touching things. Then it's like you're worried about breathing the same air, and you're in a studio that's not that big.
And not many windows and open ventilated air and stuff. It's usually kind of closed in.
Yeah. But I have to say that they were really good about if you really were uncomfortable and didn't want to come in, they gave you that option. But it was hard. It really was. And it was stressful. And, and then during that time, everything happened with Breonna Taylor and, George Floyd. And so there's this whole other layer that was just like weighing you down, and to have to get up and, make somebody else's day.
Come on.
It's hard.
Yes.
It's hard.
Especially you got it first thing in the morning. Like you have to wake up ready to go. Like that's a gift all in itself. But exactly, you touched on a point that I didn't even think about. The heaviness of 2019 to 2020 and how we still kind of had to kind of put on our faces and perform because we still have to give the news. We have to tell what's going on. And Hot Sauce, how about I gotta say Danielle, not Hot Sauce. It'll interchange. And
I do get caught up. People get caught up like that all the time. Whatever comes out of your mouth at the time, I'll take.
I'm answering it. I know that's right.
For me, I think that if I was in Pebbles and them situation, it would have been harder. So I got to stay home and work on, like admin stuff and getting things together. The hardest part was that a lot of the programming that we had going on couldn't happen because people couldn't get into the studio, and people couldn't get into the studio is because we couldn't get into the studio in order to do things, like to set things up. We needed a lot of equipment. And because the world was shut down, we couldn't get it in. So we didn't even have the option of being up and ready unless you were in your house and you already had it set up. So a lot of our DJs were set up to go, and then we decided that instead of, whatever, we were just going to make it pure music. So it wasn't, the world was heavy. The tension was heavy. Everything was heavy. This wasn't as heavy because we just stuck to like just one thing: play some music, have some fun, entertain people. So like it was almost a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. That was the perfect segue. Because right before you came on, I was just telling Pebbles, like for me, it being a newbie trying to network and make the connections in the game. At first, it felt heavy because I had to shut down everything. I couldn't go to those events. I couldn't, make my face known with the name thus far. But it also created a different avenue, like you said, a blessing in disguise. Where we're now. good old allergies coming into play. Shout out to them. But no, we're now able to have virtually connections, and now our networks are going to different places that we never would imagine we would have gotten to physically. So I'm so glad you said that. This has been a blessing in disguise because we've all had to sit down, reevaluate, refigure out what our game plans are, and look at where we are now. My goodness, I'm sitting here talking to Pebbles in a CEO mogul of a whole radio station down here. Like, this is crazy. Now let's get to it, because I specifically picked you two, and I'm very meticulous on who I bring on for a reason, because I think it's important to show that, the different time frames in which we all got into this game. And I would love for you to tell your story, Pebbles, and you, Hot Sauce, as well, how your experience was getting into this male-dominant media world. You can go ahead and go first, Pebbles, since you was the first in the game for us.
Absolutely.
Yes, tell us, please. Tell us your story.
Well, make sure you jump in and ask questions, because I never know what people want to know. So if I start to say it, just ask.
Yes,
but I was going to Northeastern University, and it was my senior year. I needed 1 credit to graduate, and I was like, oh, damn, how am I going to get this? So I ended up doing an internship at WILD.
Wow.
And it ended up turning into a job, which was incredible. And I have to say, WILD was such a special place. I mean, I don't know if everybody knows, it was this little small radio station on Warren Street in Dudley, and AM station. And we didn't have all the resources that, you know, like the other stations after that I worked at. So it was a lot of you being in the street with the community. But on the other hand, there were so many celebrities, like that was the place to go. Like
Heck yeah, it was.
Huge people you know, would come by the station. And so I started, you know, interning with the morning show, and then I got moved to middays, and then back to mornings, and then I stayed at mornings and went through different people that I worked with. But I really truly believe that I had the very best foundation in radio, because I was able to learn so much. And more important than just learning how to be on the radio, because I had no idea what I was doing. And remind me to tell you my very first time on the radio story.
For sure, we got to get into
that. But I feel like when I look at the things that I do now, that foundation was in community, and it was about helping people and informing people and really just doing things for other people. And that's, for me, that has carried through everything that I've done. It always hasn't just been about the music. It's been about, you know, being in the community as well.
And it's so dope that you mentioned WILD being that special place, because the connections, again, I choose people for a reason. We have lineage of, you know, WILD right there with Miss Johnson herself. Is it your uncle that was
Jam and Joe Johnson?
Oh,
yes. Come on, connections. Come on.
So great.
For me, growing up, again, listening to WILD and listening to all of those, you know, like all of you that started out in radio, tuning in to listen to him, you know, listening to all the other programs that went through there. Even then, I didn't even think about radio as being something that I wanted to do. Like that didn't happen until way farther down the line than me, when I graduated from college. So, you know, like it wasn't
noticing a theme here.
Yeah. It wasn't anything that I thought I would do. I started blogging and realized that I'm not a writer because I can't spell and my grammar sucks. And I was always just talking stuff or saying things. So people were like, why don't you just try radio? And I'm like, how the fuck am I gonna get into radio?
Right.
And then so like one of those, I feel like I still never even got to where I wanted to get to in radio. So I took the, you know, a lower key rate where
let's call it abstract, because I wouldn't call that lower key. I would call that abstract.
Yeah.
Like I'm a maker lane.
I started off at like a cyber station USA in Quincy, and you know they were charging me like $60 a show to do a show, to bring in CDs, to put it on and whatever, to record and edit and all kinds of stuff. So I'm like, this got to be a better way. And then when one of the other smaller stations started the reinvent of Hot 97, I got to be an intern there, and that's when I started to kind of climb my ranks up there. But it was still not, you know, traditional legal radio. So therefore it was almost like, damn it, I still got to go.
Yeah.
And that just proved to be a very hard feat in itself. So, you know, like just listening to this, it's awesome because, you know, like I did get a kind of easy start, but it still wasn't the start that I wanted or thought that I wanted.
And it's so dope that, you know, you guys' story literally leads right on up to here I am now, you know, in this space where the internships or things like that are not really a thing. It's just almost like who you know. And if somebody hears you and if somebody thinks you might have a shot, you will get your foot in the door. Thankful to you though, MsHotSauce, because I definitely know you've been intentional with SparkFM and kind of creating a space for those voices who don't get the chance to get onto the other stations or to the mainstream stations. You're very meticulous in doing so because of your story.
Black women, and
come on.
That too, but Pebble being here is a big, you know,
that's a big deal. That's a big deal. No, and I mean, it just during that time when Pebbles, when you were getting into radio, you know, you kind of went through it the way we all were taught how you get into radio. You know what I mean? You do your internship, you bust your ass, you work hard, and then you get the opportunities and the doors open for you. Now, like
it's not the same at all.
Talk
you
about
know,
it.
I really do. I do feel for people who want to get onto mainstream radio because it's not easy and it's not, you know, they're getting rid of people and doing a lot of automation. So a lot of the opportunities aren't there, even if you want to start with like a weekend shift. But I do think that it's good that there are so many other ways that people are able to
exactly
to do that, you know, through podcasts and you know, Danielle's station. I was so proud of you.
Come on, get that out Pebbles.
Really,
yes.
I mean, I was like, wow, this is amazing. I kept seeing first Black woman to own radio station, and I was like, you know, I'm gonna get choked up because, you know, really, because I was seeing going through what people had to go through, especially women and Black women, to see you do this and to see you get national attention for it, I was really happy for you and really proud of you.
I still have the screenshot that you texted, that you DM'd me, because I was like, I think I sent that to, I was like,
Pebbles, right? That's always the response. It's Pebbles.
I was like, oh, screenshots, nobody's gonna believe me.
But you know what's it's so weird because I mean, hearing you all say this to me, and I have people who are like, oh my God, I've listened to you since I was in middle school, or I remember when you came to my school to read to us. And it's so weird because to me it's like, I guess I just don't see what I do. It's just like, this is just my job.
Yo, do we all sound like we all sound exactly alike? Because literally you'll tell Hot Sauce like, hi, you're a CEO, you're an owner of a station. She's like, I'm Danielle, I'm Danny, actually. I actually need to go take off my wig. Like that's her. But I think that's what creates the genuine love and the reason why you guys, I can't even say we, because I'm not even going to put myself in y'all's ranks yet. My goodness.
Hey, get on in here.
I'm working to get there. But yeah, that's the reason why you guys are so loved, and you guys have been loved for years. You understand me? Because you're authentic to who you are. So you sell yourself. You don't have to really switch up with chimes or anything like that. Authenticity sells itself. So thank you guys for being you over the years. Hot Sauce and your craziness, Pebbles, that voice, you know, waking me up, putting me to bed, doing all of the above. Now tell me, now I always have to get into this whole male dominant industries conversation, because I think we can each think of a story that we've had to deal with where we had to fight way harder than our male counterparts to kind of get the opportunities that were available out there. Can you guys talk to that?
All my life I had to.
Come on.
That's the only thing that comes up to me.
Like, all my life.
Oh man. I don't know if it's a particular story, but I just think that in general, since I've gotten into radio, you are very well aware that people from the outside look at the male, even if it's like, you know, your name right along with that person's name, people always look at the man as being the leader of the show.
Talk about
and it's like, really?
I'm actually the one doing a lot of the work
right here too. Right?
I'm actually doing a lot of the work too. I'm just here.
Yeah, so that's just always been crazy to me. And so I don't think it's anything in particular, but I do think there's a lot of stories behind the scenes that I probably don't even know about. And we all probably don't even know about conversations that
we're not included in.
That we're not included in. So so really, to be where I am today and to be in this business as long as I have, I'm it's overwhelming. Like, I'm really surprised that this is lasting as long as it is.
I can't even believe I'm here. No,
no, really,
That's
I can't.
crazy.
Because I feel like radio is one of those industries where they're like, you're all set. Thank you so much for all of your years of service. Please go somewhere else. You know, like.
Oh yes. No! So is it that cutthroat? See, I've kind of gotten an easy introduction, so to speak, into the media world. I like Hot Sauce. Kind of feel like until I kind of break through that mainstream world, I'm still fighting to make it. But I have been grateful enough to kind of know people who are already in it and doing it and being introduced. I forgot where I was going with that. Wow, that never happens. That never happens. It would happen with
me too all the time. All the time.
Going like had all the things
ready. I had the setup. It was. Oh man!
No idea what we were talking about. No idea.
Forget about this whole episode. No, I'm kidding.
It'll come to you.
It'll come back to me.
It'll come back to you.
In the meantime, so if you could tell your first experience on the radio, how did that feel for you guys? For sure. Let's get into it. For sure. I'll let Hot Sauce go first, and then we'll get into you as Pebbles.
Okay.
On the
actual radio, yeah.
The actual radio. That was when I was at the first one. The old new. I don't like those people either, but I did learn a lot. So like I can't even be all shady because I did learn a lot and I learned what I needed to learn to get to this place. But my first time on the radio, I remember they wouldn't even let me on the radio until I answered a series of questions that was in the handbook. About different things and like unity gain and all kinds of different, making sure that I knew what I was talking about.
Oh, wow.
And then the first time that I was on that day that I finally got on, I remember that I felt like I sounded like a blubbering idiot. I felt like I was terrible and like, why would you give me this? I was nervous. I was sweating because, like at this point, you are now being broadcast to people that you can't see. And, like no matter how much people tell you like, oh, I don't care what people think of me. Like you never want to go on and sound like an idiot or have people be like, oh, why'd they put her on the radio? Or, what is she doing there? What is she talking about? So I was constantly trying to convince myself that I was good enough to be speaking and to be on this platform and have this. And then after a while, it became like, you know what, I'm here. And I guess
I know that's right.
And I started to look forward to it, but I also still get nervous on the time. The first time I was live in my own radio station, I felt the same exact way, like the imposter syndrome, all of the things like really filled into me very hardcore. It wasn't like I wasn't prepared to do it. It was like it was New Year's and they were like, we need somebody to go on from 10 to 12. And I'm like,
ooh, and that's prime time on New Year's. Sheesh.
Me?
Yes, it's only right.
And I'm like, it's only right that this happens. And I get in here and I'm by myself and I'm like, oh no.
It's day one all over again.
I know what I'm doing. But those are all the things that I like that first time, no matter what the first time podcasting, all those things, it was just like, what if I sound stupid? What if they don't like me?
Now look at you. Everybody's on the Miss Hot Sauce bandwagon. You understand me? Now, Pebbles, I got to hear your story. How was your first experience?
So when I first started interning, I was with the morning show then. And so I was just kind of doing behind the scene things. So I wasn't really on the radio.
First of all, can I just take a second? Because hearing you just tell stories literally puts me into the mode like you're on radio. And I'm just like a kid right now. Like everything you said, I'm like, yes, what happened next? Yes, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Tell story time. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's fine. So they said, well, in case anyone doesn't know, WILD was a sunup to sundown station. So when the sun came up, the station was on and then it was off, which was hilarious in the wintertime because it was like 3:30 and the station was starting to get staticky and be gone.
So that's it.
We used to always joke like we are owned and operated by the sun.
I know and it's so funny. I remember hearing that as a kid and didn't even catch that joke.
Yep.
I love that, and I wanted to adopt that here, but I was just, again, the summertime. I'm like, damn it.
Darn it.
So the first time they said, all right, we want you like to, try a shift on your own. And I said, all right. So I decided to do it. Now, I'm one of those people that I get nervous when I have to make a phone call sometimes. So I'll write everything down. Mm-hmm. So when I did my first break, I wrote everything down. They had one of the other DJs there just to make sure I was okay. He wasn't doing anything, but I just was nervous with him being in the room. Mm-hmm. So I told him, I'm like, nope, you got to go back in one of the other studios because I can't have you around here. So I turned the mic on. And I say my first break, I'm basically reading what's on the paper. Uh-huh. And then I'm like, and so I got through all of it. I was really happy that I got through it. And I was like, oh my God, I hate this. I want to die. I don't like this. I'm never doing this again. Next thing you know, he comes running around because I did not turn off the mic.
Oh no.
So all of that went out over the air.
Oh, the biggest nightmare of any media person is for that
to not
to happen.
Turn off the mic. So you know what? I got it out my first time.
I know that's right.
And then, I was fine.
Yes, I finished. I'm great.
Oh, yes.
Oh no, you heard all of that? Oh. Shit. Oh my goodness, that is hilarious. So for me, I feel like I got lucky. I don't even have like fun story. Actually, no, it was a pretty dope story. I knew DJ Dex. Shout out to DJ Dex. He introduced me to radio pretty much by just telling me to come down to the Roadblock one Thursday and was like, I think I read into him at like an event and was like, yo, I'm just thinking about doing radio. I'm going through life crises, divorces and separations. And I'm like, I'm trying to figure out some new things in life. So let me see if I can try radio. Everybody says I got this voice. Let me see if I can do it. Pebbles, don't start. You're gonna make me cry. Don't y'all start. So I'm like, all right, let me try it. I know Dex from being in Slades and all of that. Let me see if he could, get me in. So he's like, all right, eventually he lets me come down to the radio station and I sit there and I'm like, okay, I talked a big game, talked all that stuff. I got to do it now. Like I can't get on this mic and freeze up. All the nerves picks up and he's like, you're on. And something just kind of flowed. I don't know what happened. I just started talking just like I'm talking to y'all now. And the phone line started going absolutely nuts because he was saying like, if you guys want her on the show, give us a call. The phone line started going crazy. Yeah, we want her on the show. The owner of the station, I won't mention his name. The owner of the station. The owner of the station at the time he called in directly and was like, who is that? I want her. And like from that day, I was on that station. And then literally by the next week while I was on air, I get a message from Miss freaking Hot Sauce. And I knew Miss Hot Sauce from being on 97.7. I knew her from being on Henny and Hot Wings. I knew her whole movement. So she's like, oh my God, I love your voice. And I'm like, what do you mean? I love you.
And I was listening and I was like, who is that? I go and I look at social media and go to Dex's page, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I gotta say something because her voice is awesome.
But thank you for that. So, I mean, I feel like I always say, I got lucky. And I feel like because of that, I guess I'm just doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I want to be like you, Pebbles, years down the line, being like, I don't know how I'm still here, but I'm still here. I love that. I absolutely love that.
It's so true because, I've always throughout my whole radio career was like, wow, when will the time be? When's the bottom going to fall out? Because radio just feels like that, where you don't know. And you've watched people get taken out, like Danielle said, it's just like all of a sudden they're there one day and they're gone the next. So it's been like, almost 30 years of just saying, when's the bottom going to fall out? And then trying other things too.
Yeah.
So,
Have you ever got tired of it? Like,
good question.
Sometimes.
That's real.
I hate to say that, but yeah, sometimes it's like, yeah, I really don't want to talk about the Kardashians right now, or when the
Right.
world's burning down or whatever.
There are real things happening.
Right. So that part can be hard, but I think that's when I've decided to do other things where I am. So that's when, I think it's been 4 years now, I started my Sunday show, Voices with Pebbles.
Yes.
And because I wanted to do something else. I wanted to, I looked at all the people that were in the community who deserve to be highlighted, deserve to be celebrated. And that was my intention for starting that show. And I have had the dopest people come through.
Yeah.
And I've absolutely loved doing that. And then I recently started a newsletter called It's All Good. That's just, all good news that I send out once a week.
That's right.
Yeah, because
that's so important.
Yeah, we need good news. We've got plenty of bad news. Yes. We need the good stuff.
Everywhere you go, there's just bad news, and that is just such a good thing to have. Good news. And during the pandemic, I started something just like on Facebook, something very informal, like tell me something good.
Yes.
Just tell me anything good, because during that time where the numbers were spiking, everybody was dying, people were staying in the house. Everything was so bad. I was like, just give me anything that's good.
Something good, please. Yes.
Story, share an article, just something that was good.
Now,
mental health was rough.
Oh my gosh. I was just about to say that, trying to balance the mental health. I think the necessity, even, as us doing our thing in our mainstream lanes, like you on mainstream radio, me trying to get in through urban radio, and you on SparkFM, I think it's 100% necessary for our mental health to have those separate creative outlets where we can kind of do our thing and figure out what picture we want to paint for the world. You do it through Henny and Hot Wings, you do it through Voices, and I'm doing it here through Lez Get Naked. But no, that's really important. This is my mental health right here. This is me going through therapy by talking to my peers and having real conversations about everyday life things that we're dealing with. So,
well, I had to do therapy.
Oh, I mean, we all did. Listen, we all got therapists. That too. Every single one of us get a test. Shout out to Athena. I appreciate you, sis. But yeah, the mental health piece is a necessity because, like we said, when you're going through hell at home, we kind of still have to come in and talk about, things like the Kardashians, or what rappers got beef, or what new music, came in. It's like, I actually don't give a damn about this right now, but I got to act like I care right now. That's just real talk. It's real talk. Now tell me, I don't want to keep you guys too long, and listen, I feel like we could talk for hours, and I hope I can have you guys back to continue this conversation. Yes. But tell me first, what would you say was your biggest lesson thus far? Because I feel like lessons are learned every single day, right? What was your biggest lesson thus far coming up into the media world? Yeah, it's tough. I can start off with mine because I'm still learning it, and Danielle can tell you. I'm learning to grow that tough skin that's necessary. I am an emotional Cancer woman who 1000% takes everything personally. And if anything Hot Sauce has taught me, it's like, you got to kind of let it roll off your back, sis, because you still have to work when it's all said and done. And I will take things so personally, it would shut me down to where I'm like, no, I don't want to do anything because I'm mad. And that's not a good way to function. So the lesson I've learned is, no matter how, you have to learn how to have that tough skin. Everything cannot offend you. And even if it does offend you, you have to learn to work through that offense and still do your job. That's what I learned.
And it's so much worse with social media, because when I first started in radio, there was no social media. And it was very different. It was just seeing people in person. And now it's just like this whole other thing where people have all this access. That though?
Because people won't talk that stuff if they see you in person, okay?
Right.
Don't get me started.
Right. Or they would write a letter to the station.
Exactly. Nobody did that person. So it's like the internet is giving people
the last thing that happened.
Right. And it's just like, I feel like the internet is giving people so much courage to say things they would never ever say to you to your face. So I'm sorry, I just have to talk about that. That is a major difference. You, when in your time, it was if you ain't see me in person and say something, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But now, oh boy. But I'm sorry. Go ahead. What was your biggest lesson, Pebbles?
I would have to say just to be myself, be authentic.
Yeah.
And that it's not always easy to be yourself and be authentic.
Ooh,
it really isn't, because you talk about the judgment and people saying things, and I have to say I have seen people not be who they are, and know them outside and be afraid of being who they are.
I get that.
Fear of rejection or whatever. And that really makes me sad, because we should all be allowed to show up as we are, who we are, flaws and all.
I know that's right.
We all have it.
All of the above.
Yeah. So I guess I am happy that I've always done my best to just be who I am. And also knowing that even though people may think they should have access to everything about you, they don't.
Talk about it.
We're allowed to set up those boundaries and say, you know what, I'm not going to talk about that. So
exactly. And you, Hot Sauce, I feel like yours is right around that too.
Mine is pretty much a combination of the two of you, but I guess the biggest lesson that I had to learn was no is not your final answer. You know, like I learned that you are going to hear a lot of no's. You are going to you might not even hear a no. You might hear just silence. Which is a no too. Like you will just whatever. And that no, you have to figure out if it's going to be your bottom line, or if you're going to figure out what to do after that. And I found that for me, hearing no was like, all right, then bet. You know, like always, I had to go from, oh, nobody likes me, nobody loves me, I'll never be successful, whatever, to, okay, bet. And that's really kind of how everything that I had got started. And I'm not going to sit here and say that no's don't bother me, because I get anxious about them. They bother me. They keep me up. What did I do wrong? What could I have done right? How would I have turned it into a yes? What would have happened? Instead of doing with it, I kind of give myself enough time to process, and then, okay, then bet. Like, what we're going to do now?
I know that's right.
Go over this no and find a different way until you do get a yes. And I still struggle with that all the time. Like, oh, can I do this? No. Okay, all right. So what can I do then? You know, can I just come see it?
Please
sit there and look at it. No, okay.
That's where I was working too. I think I was working past to get to the point of, okay, now what can I do? Once I get no, I'm like, well, no, forget it. You know what I mean? Whole temper tantrum. But I've learned, thank you, Hot Sauce, for teaching me so many times to be like, let's get over it, okay?
After you process that, then
got to move on. You got to move on. All right. So listen. I always have to, leave somebody with some parting words, my listeners, my Lez Get Naked family. And I know, this industry can get you to a space where sometimes you don't know what to tell the people who are coming up after us, right? But if you could think of one thing, if you were telling somebody, I can't even say like myself, I'm gonna give myself a little credit. I'm a little bit in the game now, right? So someone who's thinking about doing radio, but has all these no's against them, especially a Black woman. Specifically, what advice would you give to a young Black woman interested in getting into the media world?
There's so many ways. Like Pebbles said earlier, there's so many ways right now to get into the media. And a lot of the times, in order to get to those mainstreams, you should probably figure out what the other forms of media are, whether it's to start a podcast or a blog, or just, start being more active on your socials so that you're creating this personality or something for yourself. because like she said earlier, like it is a lot harder now. A lot of things, there's like this, it's not even that you can't accept it anymore. It's just like, it's just not the norm anymore to have a lot of people, or to have a lot of opportunities for people to get into those spots, because at this point, it's not even necessarily needed.
Yeah, you can do everything automated at this point.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, like you find a mentor, or find somebody that is in the game, and just kind of, you know, ask questions, or again, find a different way to get into that, so that when you do get into it, you at least have some experience, some type of real, some type of, you know, check, or just something that you have done to make people see that, hey, I'm out here doing my thing. And then don't be afraid to leave if you can't get it where you're from. Other places, smaller places, smaller markets, all kinds of things that you might be able to kind of slip into.
That's a valid point.
It's not impossible.
That's a valid point, because I think a lot of times we don't think about that. We want to kind of show love to where we come from, and you know, really sit in it and try to cultivate it. But sometimes it does take you having to, you know, transplant yourself to a different market to really take off. So don't ever close off any avenues. If you learn anything from what Hot Sauce says, don't ever close out any potential avenues for sure. And Pebbles.
Oh, this is so hard, because I think about, because a lot of people will ask me, and I've had conversations with young people who are, you know, in school and they want to get into radio. And the one thing that I try to tell people is that this commercial radio isn't the only way. And I know for a lot of people that is what they consider where they want to be. But really think about all the other places, that the other things that you can create. Media is just creating, you know, whatever content, right? And if you create it, you're going to have a lot more freedom to do what you want without having to have other people. I feel lucky in that, for the most part, I've been given a lot of freedom to do what I do. But everyone can't say that. And if you're doing it the way you want to do it, like Danielle's doing it, nobody's telling Danielle what to do.
I know that's
Danielle's,
right.
You know?
I be like, I wish somebody would.
Yo, and if somebody think about trying to tell her what to do, you understand? But no, that is dope. That is dope, and it's necessary. And I think that's another piece that I'm glad you said that, Pebbles, that people don't look at. The goal is always, I want to get to commercial radio. I want to get to mainstream radio, but it also comes with a price, where you kind of have to sacrifice. If you're new, if you're a vet in this game like Pebbles, you can kind of call the shots on what you're gonna do. But if you're new, no, that's a no. But if you're new, you definitely have to be way more flexible and way more kind of following to what the bigger picture is. So you don't have as much say and control over what content comes out or what you even get to speak about. So that's another side of mainstream that, you know, that we don't talk about a lot. Again, I have to remind myself of that too, as somebody who is so passionate about, you know, the art that I put out or whatever I'm doing. I want to make sure that it's done my way, or I have some input in what I'm doing. So I appreciate you for mentioning that, Pebbles, for sure. I really, really do. I don't even know where to go. I just want to talk to y'all forever. Y'all just stay here, right? Y'all just stay here. But no, I'm not gonna hold y'all hostage for much longer. For everybody that lives under a rock and don't know who you guys are, I don't know who that would be. If you could let them know where to find you, you could start off, Miss Hot Sauce.
Yes, you can find me at MsHotSauce CEO across all social media. I'm literally on everyone. I use the same thing for everything because I'm Liddy. Is this available? Yes, I'll take that one. And then just follow SparkFM online at everything too, and listen. Hopefully we'll be back up and running today.
Let's check in with my guys. Are they gonna?
I don't know, because we have a show at 5:00, and I don't think we're gonna be done at 5.
Oh, okay. You know, CEO problems. I love it though. I love it.
When we get there, before I put somebody off. But yeah, just follow me, MsHotSauce CEO. That will connect you to everything else I have going on, and we out here.
We out here, baby. And Pebbles, listen, I don't even know who needs it, but Pebbles, let them know where to find you.
All right. So the radio station's hot969boston.com.
Yo, I feel like I'm listening to radio right now. I'm sorry, guys. It's crazy.
I'm on all my social medias, all Pebbles Boston. Mm-hmm. Can we talk about social media for a second?
Like, let's talk about it.
Social media is stressful. Like right now, my DMs in, because I know you were trying to reach out to me. Like I go in there and I'm just like, oh
it's
God, I haven't answered people in so long. I feel so bad, but I feel like I need a break from it sometimes.
Understandable.
It's a lot.
So listen, don't follow Pebbles on social media. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
And then my niece lives with me. She's 18 and she's always like, Auntie, you need to be on TikTok. You need it. And I'm like,
I can't do it.
Many of them that
it's a lot.
Up, and every platform demands some other type of
it's a full-time job. Yeah. And TikTok, don't even listen. The way my coordination is set up and editing and all, that's just so much. I'm like, I just want to post real quick and put it up. Like, that's all I want to do. It's just so much.
Oh no. I'm on it. Like I watch.
I've
only created a couple things. But yeah, so you can find me there. And then also, I just wanted to mention, one of the other things that I started, which was really like a passion thing for me, was Heart and Solo Media. Ooh. So it's basically, I wanted to create content for single women because, and the way that I wanted it to be was, it has nothing to do with dating. It's really about being in the space and trying to thrive while you're there, because a lot of people are just trying to like rush and get to the relationship. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to be in a relationship, but don't waste all that time when you're single to not do anything or to not try and build and enjoy life. Exactly. So listen. I mean, honestly, it's small. I have, a website, heartandsolomedia.com and Instagram, but I'm building it little by little.
Yes. So, I'll be tapping in as a fellow single woman out here. I'll be tapping in for sure.
We take the other route on Henny and Hot Wings, and we get to all the
dating and all the crazy side of things. Yeah.
And that's needed too.
Yeah. This approach is good because there's a lot of other things that single women can do besides dating.
Right.
We tend to focus a lot on. That is great, and I will be locked in.
Yes, because I want to learn how to live life outside of dating. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. What do I do? No, but no, family. I always make sure you guys follow the podcast. Lez Get Naked, LezGetNaked with an underscore on Instagram and Twitter, and without one on Facebook. And you can follow me, MzMo MzMoPhila on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. As always, family, I thank y'all for tuning in, and I ask that you listen with an open heart, open mind, and open ears. And as always, keep the conversations going. Y'all don't get to go nowhere. I'm just stopping the recording. I love y'all, family. Peace out. Right? An hour goes by quick when you're having fun. Wait, let me stop the recording. Boom. There we go.
Let's get naked. Like the juice, like the juice, don't step off the goal. Let it be in you, let it be in you.